Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, this is the Professor John Gotti here to do an exclusive interview. We're going to start a new series. Haven't thought of a name yet, but eventually we'll come up with something. But it's an interview that I'm going to do with people. It's going to be outside of the normal debates among friends format where we talk about, other things that are just beyond sports. Today, we're going to talk some comics. We're going to talk some Injustice and some Marvel video games. I got with me right now, I got the Sergeant, aka Duke. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am most well. How are you?
It's Tuesday, so I'm happy I'm not working anymore.
I think that's supposed to be reserved for Fridays for, normal people, I guess.
I mean, I don't know why, but Tuesdays are just the hardest day of the week for me. It never fails. Something always happens. It makes it difficult, so by the time you finish up with the day, the rest of the week is like a breeze for me.
Usually my Tuesdays are only like that when I stayed up too late drinking Monday night. So,
true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in retrospect, I did kind of spend most of last week watching the Games Done Quick charity event, so
yeah, pretty cool.
Gotti was pretty tired by the time that ended.
See? So you need some beer water.
Moving on. Yep, just gonna move on from that one. Oh my goodness, sir. I'm excited to start this new show. I'm honored to have you as my first guest to talk about something that's just beyond sports. I love me some sports, but sometimes you just gotta go out the norm and just shoot from the hip. So let's talk about something that I know that you're very passionate about. That's comic books, but in particular the DC universe, the Marvel universe, their movies and their video games.
Word. Because I never thought as a kid watching cartoons, watching Super Friends, or, even catching Batman animated series. I never in my life would have thought that we would be sitting here today talking about good live action versions.
There you go.
Of characters. So I am
Green Lantern.
Extremely amped. Dude, before Green Lantern.
Tank Girl. Oh, wait.
Captain America.
Ooh.
All right. I will rest that there.
I was gonna say Schumacher, but I mean, we don't talk about Schumacher films.
Look, they put out a Fantastic Four that was so horrible they didn't put it out.
Wait.
Yeah.
So are you trying to say that Fantastic Four movie faded to black?
It didn't even fade.
It wasn't even a tickle. It was just so bad.
No.
And I feel, I mean, what did they expect?
It was like an unlit candle in the wind.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, there you go.
I see what you did there. But I mean, I guess we can start off, since you mentioned the Fantastic Four. Horrible movie. Let's stick it with the Marvel universe. I mean, what do you think they've been doing so far? How have they been, doing? Spider-Man: Homecoming came out. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, but what I've read, great reviews. I basically watched most of the movie from off YouTube, so shout out to YouTube for that. And shout out to all the bootleggers out there that maybe basically watch the movie for free, but that's besides the point.
I'm just saying, honestly, if it wasn't for bootleggers, I probably wouldn't even be into movies at this point in my life. So, mad props to you guys who are an integral part of this community and this economy. But,
yes. Way to hustle. I hold it down for the hood.
Just saying. But no, I went out and watched Homecoming the night it dropped because, and I'm sad to admit this, but Homecoming and Black Panther I have been super on the fence about for weeks now. Because I was they're either going to be great or they're going to be horrible. And I don't think my childhood could take it if they were horrible. But I went out on a limb for Marvel because they have more hits than not.
Yes.
And Spider-Man
more than that other, company that we're going to talk about in a few minutes.
Yeah, it's like Coke and New Coke. All right, it's just there's no difference.
There's no.
Props to Marvel because once again they pulled a rabbit out their ass, and I really liked when Ant-Man came out because it was something that was completely fresh and original for Marvel. Kind of the same thing with Winter Soldier, and I feel like Homecoming is in that same vein. Like you went out and got some outside people to give you a fresh take on the story and this character, but at the same time, it felt so familiar that I was wondering why the past two franchises for Spider-Man didn't do that before. Like you have decades worth of source material.
Yes.
Why are you not using it? That's like having an open book test and being like, you know what, I'm good, knowing you didn't study the night before.
I mean, sometimes it's all about just getting people on the seats and not really about producing, quality story.
Well, and you know what? I will fault the Amazing Spider-Man franchise for that. That was a straight toy cash grab. But I really do feel like Raimi actually tried to make good Spider-Man movies, and at least with the first two, he did.
Yes.
Especially for their time.
Yes.
Spider-Man 2 is still held as one of the best comic book movies out. That third one,
no.
That was studio interference like a bug.
Literally, so many memes of Peter Parker in that black suit. Literally, emo Peter. Like, I'm surprised that's not even a Twitch emoji. Like, I might have to check that out after the stream.
It probably is.
I mean, if not that, we might have to make that for Debates Among Friends.
But I will give them props because, shouts out to Feige that, you went back to what you knew and loved.
Yes.
Put him back in high school and actually gave us a story about high school Peter that worked. It wasn't an origin story.
Nope.
It was just a story about a kid who happened to have some problems. And in that sense, I think it made it relatable for everyone who was watching.
No doubt. And I guess the next thing I want to talk to you about that movie is, just the story itself. Peter. I know we already talked about emo Peter, but this is, another rendition of Peter Parker.
Not Miles Morales like we thought we were going to get originally.
Which I'm totally ready for that. Like, you have no clue. Like, I would cosplay as Miles Morales in a heartbeat.
But you know what? It's coming. It is coming.
Like, I can't wait. But that's besides the point. I mean, what do you... How did you interpret this Peter, compared to the others?
I feel like, and this isn't, I don't want this to come off as a knock to the actors because I felt like they did good jobs with the material that they were given. But I feel like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was way too emotional. He was just way too filled with angst and sorrow. And
thus emo Peter. I mean,
exactly.
That pretty much led to that.
And, Garfield's Spider-Man, it's kind of like Batman and Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Right? Peter Parker is a nerdy kid who has some real life problems, but who is just trying to figure out who he is as a person. Spider-Man is his outlet. That's his alter ego.
Yes.
He can throw on the mask and fuck it, I'm fearless and I'm just gonna go and take over the world. And I feel like Garfield, even without the mask, was still that
just
same
that.
character.
Yeah.
Like
he was entertaining. He was entertaining for what it's worth. But
he was the first funny Spider-Man that we had.
Yes. Oh gosh.
But I mean, that's just it. Like the laugh track never stopped.
Yes.
And here you are skateboarding through the halls and like you were already a cool kid. Like I don't know. You're not Peter Parker to me. You're more like Flash Thompson. just, you know, a little less of a bully. But I feel like this Spider-Man was a good mix of the two. You were, if I was reading the comics, what I would envision Peter Parker and Spider-Man to be. You were unsure of yourself. You know, still didn't know how to talk to girls, but yet 5 seconds later, you're climbing up walls and saving the city with bad guys. Like, you were fearless to a fault, but only in certain situations when you actually realize your real potential. And I appreciate that they made sure to pay attention to the actual character arcs that were there for them in the story.
I can actually agree with that.
Yeah. Like, that even goes back to the villains. I think Alfred Molina's Doc Ock.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because that's going to be the next question.
Got him.
Because in that movie, we had the Vulture.
Yes.
Played by Michael Keaton, who was, you know, at least in my opinion, the best Batman.
You know what? I will probably have to co-sign with that. But, like, I don't know what it is about Michael Keaton, Mask, and birds. I don't know what it is. Like, you got Batman, you had Birdman, now you got the Vulture. Like, I don't know what it is. Maybe he should have, like, an aviary in his backyard. I'm not sure.
He might. He might.
He might.
I mean, for all we know, Michael Keaton, and this is just between me, you, and the, you know, hundreds of people listening to us right now, he may actually be the Penguin in disguise. I'm just saying.
He very well could be.
he might have the surname of Cobblepot. That's all I'm trying to say.
But, you know, I feel like to reroute this back to Keaton's Vulture, which can I just say, first off, snaps for fresh characters. Like, who'd have ever thought we'd have seen the Vulture in a movie?
Yes.
Like, come on. But when Alfred Molina took his turn as Doc Ock, we got a side of Doc Ock that we didn't even see in the comics. We got a very troubled, tortured individual who you actually felt bad for and in some ways rooted for in the movie. And that was crazy. Like, who roots for a villain that's not psychotic already? But, okay, fair enough.
It depends on the movie. It depends on the movie.
And that's fair, but that's what I'm saying. Like, there was such character-driven writing there that it made it possible. And I feel like it was the same thing in this movie. You know, he starts out as just a regular schlub trying to make some money in the world with this cleanup business, cleaning up behind the heroes who have trashed all these cities. And
which, that part of the story I really loved.
Yeah, because it tied everything back in within the first 5 minutes of the movie. You know, I mean, snaps to Marvel for trying to strong-arm Sony into keeping this relationship going.
Oh boy. All I can think of is that Venom movie. Tom Hardy. We're gonna pray for you, Tom. We're gonna pray for you.
That's gonna be interesting, but I don't really trust Sony no more. So if there's not a Marvel attached to it in the production credits, I ain't watching. But anywho, you know, just through a series of unfortunate events, he ends up becoming the persona of the Vulture. But it is always to provide provide for his crew members, to provide for his family, and you know, you actually start feeling bad for him, or not even start, you feel bad for him the whole movie, because you can see even the actions that he takes as the Vulture aren't necessarily actions that he wants to be taking.
It's more of a means to an end. Like,
exactly.
He's basically acting as a, you know, cornered animal who needs to do whatever he needs to do to, you know, provide, as you said before. So yes, absolutely, exactly. I completely agree.
Or, you know, even more so, and you know, even more so as a parent who, you know, may resort to stealing to provide for their children.
Which is always a political debate, but we're not doing politics.
Yeah. At least not this episode.
Oh gosh, I hope not. Oh gosh, I can already see the phone calls coming in. Professor, we need everyone to listen to what I have to say about this certain person in his seat of power out in the White House.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm vetoing it right away.
But no, like I said, and it was really just the characters, even the supporting characters, that get their few minutes to shine. They made the movie all that much better with their inclusion because they all offered something.
Yes.
It wasn't just this group of randoms that were there to prop up the characters.
It's not like it's just Spider-Man villain, 2 supporting characters, and the rest of them are all extras.
Exactly. Boom boom pow, and yeah, we're done.
That's it.
But and hey, look, snaps to Marvel. I am that much more willing now. You know what? Let me not even joke around. I'm still gonna end up seeing Black Panther, but like at least now I'm actually looking forward to it. Like I'm actually hyped for it. So
I've been hyped for that movie.
I was hyped for its inclusion. We'll see.
I'll be more hyped if they include like Storm in the movie.
Yeah, that won't happen. And that's my biggest gripe. I'm like, dude, Marvel, you did it with Sony.
Yes.
Go to Fox. Work something out.
Do something.
Please.
I mean, it's bad enough that we're not going to get the X-Men characters in the new Marvel video game yet. There are no X-Men characters.
I'm just saying.
Marvel, you need to pay the money. You're with Disney now. Pay the money.
It's not like you don't got it.
Yes. Jeez.
Like, you got that Disney money.
It's rough out here in these streets.
Hey, look, laugh because you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Throw it up in the sky, make it rain.
Oh goodness. But I guess we can touch a little bit on since we're gonna stay with the Marvel Cinema Universe real quickly. I don't know if you had a chance to look at any of the trailers or some of the gameplays for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but a lot of characters are directly related to the MCU universe. I mean, yes, Doctor Strange returned and stuff like that, but like they have Rocket Raccoon and Groot as one character. They got Miss Marvel.
Alright.
I mean, they got Ultron there as one of the villains for the game. I mean,
why not?
What is your thought? Like I said, I don't know if you had a chance to look at any of the trailers or the gameplay, but like, what is your initial thoughts about it? A, the fact that there are no X-Men characters coming into the game, at least for the time being, which probably not going to be for a while.
Right.
But B, what are your thoughts about them, really trying to drive home the MCU into a video game now?
Well, I mean, let's just really be honest about it. Marvel's comic book sales kind of fell off before Iron Man came out back in 08.
Yes.
Like, they had some good titles that still had a strong following, but overall, people just don't buy books. So even if you are getting your comics, you're getting them through your Kindle or through an app on your phone. And they don't count as strong of sales as actual comic books.
Comics, yes.
Not
to mention the rise of the indie comics.
This is also true because there are some very, very good
very good
that
ones
are indie out there.
There's actually one about Daigo Umehara coming out in Evo, so I'm gonna try to pick that up.
Do that.
Of course, I'm hyped about it. I'm acting like a school kid about it. but back to the subject, though. I mean, what are your thoughts about this?
But I mean, so it's really no wonder that they would resort back to using the MCU characters in a lot more of their products because they're going to be the more recognizable faces or versions of these characters. That's just like in what was it, Ultimate Alliance 2, when they actually used Robert Downey Jr.'s face for Iron Man. So, I'm not really surprised about it. I have not gotten a chance to look at any of the gameplay footage yet, but I did see some of the pictures, like some of the snapshots, and I noticed that as well. And I just attributed it to that. Like, you know,
Yes.
if I'm Marvel and I'm trying to get people to buy this game who may not have normally bought comics, but you are still a gamer, you're probably going to recognize these faces more so than the traditional ones. So, you know, makes sense. I'm not that mad about it. I would have liked to see the inclusion of some more characters who possibly don't have movies coming out yet, but who probably should.
Yep.
You know, or even ones that have already had their time in the sun, and we could bring them back as throwbacks, i.e. Blade and Punisher. Which, if I'm not mistaken, I think Punisher is on there. Yeah, I have to go back and check, but
no.
If not, he should.
No, here is the people, at least from this source that I've seen, that is on the game, in alphabetical order for yourself and the people out there. Ant-Man, who was part of Hawkeye in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Okay.
Fun, you know, super combo to see, which is awesome. Captain America, because why not? Really lacking the female element. Doctor Strange, which actually I don't know why people try to rag on a little bit. Gamora, because Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
Hawkeye, because, you know, he's a mainstay now. A great keep-away character.
Yeah.
Hawk... I mean, other than Kane Blue River, who won, you know, 2 Evos before last year, who, you know, that was one of his main characters. I really don't care too much about Hawk. Iron Man, because it's freaking Iron Man.
Sure.
Rocket and Groot, Spider-Man, Thanos, which he came back from Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which I really like because, you know, they're starting to go into the Infinity Wars now.
Right.
Thor, and then Ultron. Was an act. Him like jumping into the person while laughing maniacally.
That would be pretty awesome.
Daredevil will be fine to see. Who else? Who else would be good there? That you would like to see. 3 characters that you would like to see that'll have you pick up the sticks and play this game.
Ooh.
No. I don't know if Daredevil was one of them for you.
No, he's not. He's not. I think it'd be cool to watch, but he wouldn't make me go out and get a copy.
I mean, Black Panther, is he one of them? A nice close combat character?
It depends on the treatment. Like, don't give me some basic fight moves and tossing some claws and throwing like nah.
See, the only problem oh gosh. I can't believe you just went there.
Yes, I did.
Oh gosh, we're not there yet. I was thinking of they'll have him play more like X-23 did, which is basically a pseudo Wolverine.
Yeah, all right.
Like that's something that I worry about.
Which, I mean, I don't know if I would be so upset about it. Like, I feel like that's probably close enough. But I mean, come on, man. The man's a king.
I mean, would you like to see a return of, you know, the Merc with the mouth? Would you like to see a return of Deadpool? Because he was fun to play. He was a great. He was a great point character to play.
he was fun to play, especially the fourth wall breaking. Always a must. Anytime that you use Deadpool.
It's the perfect trolling tool. Like, I don't know if you, have you seen his level 3? It is literally him breaking the fourth wall.
Yes. And that's what I loved about it. It was always entertaining.
Watching someone do it, and I hope someone does it. Like people, if you're going to Evo and you're competing in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is the last time Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 will be at Evo as a mainstay title. Someone pick Deadpool. Someone rock out that level 4 hyper combo, like just for me, just for Gotti. Do it for Gotti.
Oh.
Like, do it for me. Talk to me.
I don't know. I would have to say, okay, 3 characters. The
whole Marvel universe. The whole Marvel universe. You have free range of anyone that is not already in the game.
Ghost Rider.
Great character, high damage in Ultimate vs. Capcom 3.
Yep. Namor, okay. Yeah. Okay. Because screw it, Namor needs some shine.
Okay.
And my third probably would be a toss-up between Black Bolt and possibly Karnak. And I say that only because his combos could be legendary.
It could be.
If treated correctly, they could be legendary.
I like that.
But
I'll be sure to talk to the people out there and
pass it along. Have your people relay that to the Marvel team.
Oh goodness.
Over at Capcom.
Oh, plebs. But I mean, I guess that's enough for the Marvel side. I mean, we had a lot of fun talking about Marvel, but now we have to go into the DC Extended Universe. We got to talk about their movies, their upcoming movies. You know, we got Justice League coming. We already had Wonder Woman, which,
And actually, hold on. Before we jump to DC, just so I have a comparison point jumping off here.
Go for
anybody
it.
Listening.
Talk to the people.
Marvel has put out a lot in the past years, but what is coming is even more.
Yes.
Let's exclude all the cartoons because really, honestly, and truthfully, that is Marvel's end of the deal with Disney to keep the money checks coming. We give you cartoons, you give us money for movies and TV. It is what it is.
Yes.
But you have all 4 Defenders coming back for return seasons, as well as the Defenders TV show, as well as Punisher getting his own show, which will also at some point in there supposedly include Ghost Rider from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
You got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming back. You have Cloak and Dagger coming out on Freeform, as well as oh man, who is it? Not the Young Avengers. Actually, I think it is Young Avengers.
Okay.
But they have a show coming out on Freeform as well, headed up by Squirrel Girl of all people. So
why all the hate about Squirrel Girl? Come on.
You know what? Look, I love me some Squirrel Girl on panel. I don't know how well it's gonna play out in the real world, but we'll see.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the next Ant-Man movie so we can see Wasp Woman.
I mean, hey, look, me too. Honestly, I hope that whatever Phase 5 is gonna be called includes She-Hulk.
I would be down for that one. She was a fun character around the first couple of patches for Marvel vs. Capcom, like the vanilla version. She was a lot of fun.
I'm just saying, like, if you can't get Deadpool back, that's your next best thing. But I digress. So, Marvel's got a lot popping off in the world of entertainment right now, and I feel like, comparison point, DC is trying to match and or outpace it. The problem, though, is Marvel has been building this since 2007.
Yes.
I mean, I know Iron Man came out in 2008, but let's just be real about it. You don't just make an Iron Man, throw it out there, and be like, okay, if that takes, we're done. Like, no. These plans were already drafted. Maybe not to this extent, but at least up until Avengers. So, 2007, that means for the past decade, Marvel has been planning everything that has led up to now.
Yes.
Whereas,
and the people spoken, though, because they said they wanted more Marvel.
I'm just saying.
Literally, it was hashtag "It's Marvel, baby," which is a terminology used in the fighting game community. By the way, that's what people use. That's when people get salty, they go, "Don't get mad, it's Marvel, baby."
Fair enough. But I feel like DC is trying to play catch up. I know they've been accused of this by everyone and their brother, but honestly, it's real hard to call a duck swan when it's a duck.
Yes.
So, and in all honesty, I don't even see that as a bad thing. But let me think of how I can put this in the most politically correct way.
You don't have to. This is Interview with the Duke, sponsored by Debates Among Friends.
And beer water.
Oh gosh. And heat tap.
Word. It's really sad to me as a fan of comics in general, but having grown up as Batman being one of my favorite characters in any universe, multiverse, whatever. You were playing catch up to a formula that is already laid out for you. That is like walking into a kitchen to make a cake and laid out on the counter. You got flour, eggs, sugar, milk, a bowl, a spoon. Like, what else do you need to make this cake?
Vanilla.
I mean, maybe it's vanilla. Like, I'll do you one better. There's vanilla beans laying on the table. All right?
There you go.
Like, it's not a complicated process.
No.
So it is making me rip my hair out as to why DC can't get it together. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Yep.
Like, you don't have to release Justice League right now. You haven't even finished introducing your entire cast of characters.
No, they have not.
You don't have to introduce Suicide Squad when you haven't even introduced the heroes that they're fighting. I mean, and
that by itself was like a huge, tease and middle finger to, all the DC fans, just the FYI.
I was so... you know what? I
Talk to Gotti. Tell the people how you felt about that movie.
I have to tell you, I watched the first 15 minutes of that movie on a bootleg, mind you, and shut it off. I was that disappointed. And this is coming off of the heels of Batman vs. Superman, alright? What was supposed to be the most legendary comic book movie of my lifetime. Okay? I mean, pen to panel, hand to God. This was supposed to be the best fight ever. The comics proved that it could be. The cartoons proved that it could be. DC Animation, every last one of them should get to keep their job, and everybody else in DC should be fired. Because they seem to be the only ones getting it right.
Oh my goodness.
I don't understand how you screw that up. I don't.
It screws up pretty bad.
Told, like 15 ways from Sunday. There's different multiversal stories on it. There's different artists and writers' takes on it.
I mean,
like,
not to mention that most if not all of these, new DC movies are all coming from the New 52. They're all coming from the New 52.
A failed project because that lasted what, 2 years, and they got rebooted again. because, well, let's just face it.
Because it's easy to try to be, hip and, I guess, I don't know. It was just I mean...
Well, no. Like here's the thing. And I have always respected DC for this. This is their box. This is, it's like that scene on Hitch where he's like, "Oh, show me how you dance." And he goes, "No, don't do that no more. This is your box. DC, this is your box. All right? You have legendary characters. Legendary. I can hold up, before the movie, I can hold up a picture of Wonder Woman damn near anywhere in the world, and people would be able to tell me who she was. I can hold up the Batman symbol, and people could tell me that it was Batman. Same thing with Superman. You have legendary characters. Why would you want to change them? Why would you want to fundamentally change them? Let me take that back. That is what your Elseworld stories are for. Mm-hmm. But for your main continuity, you just need to keep it trucking as is. And maybe it is, you just don't put out stories in the main continuity for a while. And you just focus on these Elseworld stories. And come back to it. But... New 52. Oh my god.
Yep.
And the worst part is, I love the 52 story. Like, the actual comic and graphic novel and novel. I have all three of them. I loved it. It was a great story.
It just didn't transition.
Where it ended. Yeah, exactly.
It hasn't transitioned at all.
And there was just, like, absolutely no explanation for any of the stuff that was happening here. It was just, hey, here's your new characters, enjoy. Like, wait, what? Like, nah, bro, nah. Superman's been Superman for like the past 52 years.
Yep.
Minus that whole mullet phase. But, we just tend to overlook that like it didn't happen. What I'm pretty sure we're going to do with the new 52 now. But I'm just like, what are you doing, DC? Like, I thought you loved me. Why would you strike me? Why would you hit me like that? Like, just all in the face.
I mean, we did love you, but, times got hard. Marvel's really kicking us in the face. I mean, we're going to have to rock the boat a little bit for you, Kelvin. We're going to have to rock the boat a little bit for you, Sergeant. Just a little bit.
You know what? I understand where the need came from, but I would rather DC have done what DC does and just bully everybody. Like, I didn't mind the DC that tried to buy out all their competition, and when they couldn't buy you out, they just shut you down. I didn't mind them. They were gangsters, but they knew what they wanted. This DC, like, you've been neutered.
Basically.
Like, what are you doing with yourself?
They don't know what they want. That's the problem.
No, they do not.
They're too busy, playing catch up. That now they're the victim.
Yeah, this is true.
But I'm glad you mentioned the Batman v Superman movie, because I definitely wanted to touch base on that before we head into the most recent movie, which is Wonder Woman, and talk about the Justice League movie, and then talk about Injustice. So Batman v Superman. Martha.
Save Martha.
Literally, that was the whole theme of the whole movie.
I am so sorry. I feel like once again that is the same lazy writing that led to the New 52. And it's not even writing made out of desperation. This was literally, you needed 20 more pages.
Yep.
By tomorrow. And it is like 45 minutes before you need to deliver them. And you're just in here banging stuff out. Like, it didn't even make sense in continuity.
Nope. Like, even afterwards, the executive's like, oh my god, this is great. The writer's like, what the frick did I finish writing?
I'm just saying, like, it didn't even make continuity with the movie.
No. No.
Oh, and then, just for good measure, we're going to go ahead and throw in some lame-ass, gooey-ass version of Doomsday. And, that should get people pretty hyped. We're gonna make this amalgamation movie of The Dark Knight Returns / Death of Superman / Batman vs Superman.
I mean,
and
were the critics right? You know, that you mentioned, you know, the cornucopia of different stories into one. Were the critics right that they tried to put so much in so little of a time frame that it was the beginning of the end, but then Martha was the nail in the coffin?
Martha wasn't even the nail in the coffin to me. I mean, it was stupid, it was hokey, but like, honestly, it was kind of expected at this point. Look at Man of Steel. And you know what? Man of Steel got bumped up a notch on that DC movie hierarchy for me, because whereas I would have said it was the worst movie to date,
that now wait, so you forgot about Superman Returns?
You know what? Everybody rags on Superman Returns. I actually enjoyed Superman Returns, and here's why. I felt like they didn't try to fundamentally change Superman. New 52. It was the same version of Superman. Different guy in the suit. I mean, granted, yes. Obviously, we couldn't put Reeves back in the suit, but I felt like Brandon Routh was at least a fairly convincing-looking Superman / Clark Kent. And I felt like the story was very much in the same vein as the Christopher Reeve Superman stories. It was all about hope and inspiration. I can dig it. Should it have maybe been proofread a little bit? Sure.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, visually, it was great. You had Kevin Spacey in there. He's always a win. Like, it was what I imagine an old school golden age Superman comic to be like.
Yes.
Minus maybe the whole Superman has a kid part, but you know, whatever. We had to address that at some point.
We're gonna get to that once we hit Injustice.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, the whole Batman versus, like, it's kind of like when you eat a dessert that has too many overpowering flavors, and it just makes the whole thing taste like a sugary mess.
Yes. DC tried to take all their biggest stories involving Batman and or Superman and mash them into one movie, thinking this is what the people want. No.
When it is not what the people want at all.
No.
I honestly, I would have rather seen a live-action Arkham game.
I would be down for that, actually. That's a $3 million idea right there.
But you know what? That was the great thing about the first Arkham game. It was contained, it was simple, the story was straightforward, and we had a hero and a villain squaring off against each other with some people in between there.
Yep.
Cool. That's all we need to tell a story. That's it.
It's so simple. It's in the words of Joker, it's quite simple, really. You keep it simple.
I'm just saying. Thank you, asthmatic Joker.
Do I really look like a man with a plan?
You know, R.I.P. to Ledger. But,
oh,
like,
goodness.
You know, I really hope, and it doesn't look like a good sign, that Affleck, you know, Warner's golden boy, is backing out of the directing chair, because you just realized there was way too much stuff going on in what should be a fairly simple Batman movie. Yeah.
Like, he said that he was like, wait, it shouldn't be this hard. What the heck is wrong with everyone? Yeah. Jesus.
I'm just saying. And it's not even like it's his first time directing or starring simultaneously. So, the fact that you were just like, yeah, no, I can't do this, you need to bring somebody else in, when this was your agreement to be in it in the first place, it's a little suspect. But, you know, we also have the shining beacon on the hill that is Wonder Woman.
Well, since you mentioned that, that's a great segue. Let's talk about Wonder Woman. Let's talk about the movie. I had the, you know, great pleasure of watching that movie in the theater for free.
Nice.
Shout outs to Momsy out there. She knows who she is. For getting me inside a movie to watch it for free. And I'm glad I paid nothing for it, because I wouldn't have paid a single dime for that movie. I did not like that movie at all. Okay?
Really?
One of the most, femme fatale, feminist superheroes of all time was motivated by love at the climax of the film.
Yeah. I mean, leave it to Warner Brothers and DC.
I'm just saying. I mean, the way that she is in the comics, the way that she is in the video games, which we're gonna get to after this. She's a BA. She's pretty bad.
It's true.
I mean, but in this one, granted, it's supposed to be an origin story. She's a little bit more naive. But just something about it I'm like, really? Like, I wanted to stand up a couple times. I'm like, really? Are you serious? Like, are you really enjoying this? Seriously? I would pay you back if I had the money. I don't have the money, but I would pay you back if I did. I'm just saying. Enjoy your movie. I didn't like it so much, but I mean, it's not my opinion that people care about tonight. This is my interview with you. They want to know what you think about that movie.
I mean, honestly, I didn't hate it, and maybe that was motivated by my previous letdowns with these people. That I'm like, your most successful movie is essentially a collection of ripoffs from other comic movies. Yeah, I went there. But,
shots fired!
Look, there is a way to plagiarize and make it your own, and I feel like they came very close to that. I mean, the origin war story has been told. Captain America.
I was literally like, that was the first thing I thought of during that scene. I'm like, Marvel's gonna sue someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, yes, Wonder Woman is the response to Captain America.
Pretty much.
Or is it vice versa? I keep forgetting about which one of them came out first, but it doesn't matter.
Nah, not really.
The Captain America movie was done. It was done well. It was something that got people hyped.
I mean, I'm just saying, and once again, focus on character-driven writing. You told a story about a man, not about Captain America. You told the story of Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers, exactly. Like, have us understand the humanity of the hero first before we just embrace the hero.
Exactly.
It's a scheme that leads to green, my friend.
This is true. This is true. But, we've already had the fish out of water story, Thor. We have already had the traveling to new places story, Thor.
Yeah.
We've also had the villain that seems like a villain but isn't really a villain reveal.
Yep. The big switch at the end. Yep.
So, while I didn't hate the movie, I do feel like it is the best of the DCEU so far.
That's really bad.
It is. But I am willing to give it a few points just for that. Just for the fact that you held off the studio execs long enough to put out a decent movie. Not a good movie, not a great movie, but a decent movie.
I mean, I gave it some low scores, but then again, Batman v Superman literally gotten like a 2 for me, so.
That's fair.
I mean, the bar is set pretty low for Wonder Woman. I think I gave it a 4.
It was. But I also appreciated that, much like Batman and Superman were supposed to be to each other, the whole night-day comparison, the Wonder Woman movie looked visually different from everything that we have seen before, i.e. Thor. Like, there is almost nothing original about this movie short of Diana's actual origin, and everything after that.
I was about to say, you have to be careful. We don't want to become sexist about the most obvious one.
Well, no. And I'm saying, like, that to me, that was the most original part of the story.
Yes. Which I will agree. Like, the whole, her on Themyscira, you know, the training stuff. Like, I really enjoyed that.
Right.
But that was where the movie ended being enjoyable for me.
Pretty much everything else from that point was very cut and paste.
It was just cut and paste.
And I mean, granted, the pacing, again, while not great, it was still the best of the DCEU.
Yes.
So I give it points for that. And again, if you're going to plagiarize something, there is a way to go about doing it to make it your own, and I feel like they got close in that.
Mm-hmm.
There were moments where I snapped out of it and realized, oh snap, this is such a movie. But for the most part, I was pretty into the story as it moved along. As I'm sure there will be a Wonder Woman 2, I can only hope that the second movie learns from the mistakes of this one, much like it seems this movie learned from the mistakes of Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel.
Yes.
And puts out an even better movie. Probably won't happen, curse of the sequels, but here's hoping.
Well, thankfully you gave us another segue. Let's leap from the Invisible Jet of forgottenness that is the Wonder Woman movie, and let's talk about the Justice League movie. The I guess you could call it the knee-jerk reaction.
The 7-somethings.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't like it. I won't be going to see it. I'm just gonna throw that out there, like, real quick. Here's my beef. I'm just saying, like, everybody duck, because there's more shots coming. I don't understand how you're gonna put out an ensemble movie and you've only introduced literally half of the cast at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, you have introduced Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
And Flash had
Batman
a cameo.
not even in his own movie. I don't even call it a cameo. That was like 5 seconds on screen. He shouldn't have even got paid for that. That was a warm-up for this movie. Alright, that was a suit fitting.
Well, no, because Flash was in 2 scenes.
Test.
He was in 2 scenes.
Which 2 scenes?
He was in the Flash. He was in the Dream, and then he was in the surveillance video towards the end.
Yeah. Okay. No, surveillance videos don't count.
It's still a cameo. I'm sorry. I don't want to disagree with you because I agree with you, but the people they're calling it a cameo.
Okay. Well, we'll toss him $10 for that 10 seconds he was.
Hey, it's better than the Joker.
I guess.
Shots fired.
I'm just saying. Glad I got my vest on. But we still, at this point, until the movie comes out, know nothing factual about this version of the Flash.
Nope.
We still know nothing factual yet till the movie comes out about this version of Cyborg or this version of Aquaman.
Who they are really trying to make like the Thor of this, ragtag bunch of heroes. Like, literally, like, I literally just see Thor as soon as they show him on screen, like, Thor.
Pretty much. And you know what, I could look past that if they had made him traditionally blonde like Aquaman has always freaking been. I could look past the other tatted up surfer / bodybuilder look that he's got going on, because it is very much so in line with the 2001 version of Aquaman.
Yes.
Hook hand pirate. And I kind of like that version of Aquaman better than the old Arthur Curry, I gotta have a curly top and talk to fish. Because, yeah, he was the running joke. And it was just so sad.
Hilarious.
Yes, it was. But I like this version of Aquaman better. I just wish that they would stop trying to so radically change these characters. Just don't. Just stop. What are you doing?
I mean, he's
you
supposed to be the eye candy.
And that's great and all. I most definitely thought Gal Gadot was supposed to be the eye candy, but yeah, whatever. But you know nothing about half of your cast, which, okay, fine, maybe you can introduce them, but we've already seen that DC/Warner Brothers is horrible at introducing characters in ensemble movies.
Suicide Squad.
I'm just saying.
Batman v Superman.
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
these allergies
yeah,
out here.
That only had 3 characters. I'm just saying, like, you're horrible, you suck at it, you shouldn't put it on your resume.
Nope.
It's a thing. But, so, you already have 3 new characters now that you have to introduce. Let's just say, for a fair introduction, that's going to take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. So that's 15 minutes of your movie right there. I now also have to introduce the fallout from Batman vs. Superman, because that's coming in right
basically the first arc. That's the first arc of the movie right there. That's, you know, exactly. 20, 35 minutes right there.
Which, can I also go ahead and put out there, I do not mind being looped into watching multiple movies or multiple TV shows or even Netflix shows in order to get a complete picture. But, and Marvel is partially at fault in this as well, that should not be the only way that I get a complete picture. I should still be able, like, if this were connect the dots, I should still be able to skip 10 of the 50 dots and be able to make out the picture.
It's like, that is boom, flower.
Exactly.
But you forgot the petals, but I can tell.
It's got a face, it's got a stalk, it's in the grass. It's either a flower or a weed. Either way, it's a plant.
Like, either way, someone's going to end up doing something with later on. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, pretty much. Or it's going to get mowed over. Either way.
Remember, kids, winners don't do drugs.
Oh, no, but the cool kids sell it. Anywho. So that's kind of my beef in this, because you have at least 15 minutes introducing these other 3 characters, another 10 to 15 minutes recapping people on what happened from the end of Batman vs. Superman till now, and then I still have to actually set up this story. We're talking 45 minutes of this movie for just an introduction to setups.
For the most part, I mean, maybe they'll push the limit, maybe they'll do 2 hours, 2.5 hours, maybe, but then that becomes too long, and now you're gonna exhaust the moviegoers. Like, that's the problem. You have to find that perfect balance between being engaging and being able to tell a story.
And, that's the thing. Like, Spider-Man was, what, 2 hours and 15 minutes or something like that?
Yep.
And I watched that bad boy from beginning to end, including the previews, because I was just that enthralled in it. I don't feel like this will be that. DC just does not have the track record to make me want to sit here and do it. So, if this 45 minutes of introductions and recaps don't immediately draw me in, I'm out.
Like, quite literally, I would be checked out of the movie. I'll be honest with you. I've done it before. In fact, I've done it with Batman v Superman. I literally was bored by the end of the first act.
I am already scouting out what other movies will be playing at the movie theater during that time frame, so that I can just hopefully sneak from one theater to another.
I probably wouldn't just go at all.
I'm just saying, go cop the bootleg. I would not even...
we hear that some of my friends is not trying to recommend you do anything illegal, ladies and gentlemen, so...
Yeah, no. I mean...
we have to make sure you tell them that.
I'm just saying, I'm not advocating it, I'm just saying, if it were me,
yes,
that's what I would do. Smart money is on not buying a ticket. At least not unless they can prove in some previews that this is going to be a course correction.
But that's the problem, Duke. Sergeant, can I speak with you for a second? That's the problem, because they did a good job advertising Suicide Squad. But then they changed it around. And it turned into a handful of cow donkey.
Well, here's my problem. The trailers for Suicide Squad, all they did was prove to me that you were very gifted at CGI and cinematography.
Yes.
That was about it. It still did not make me want to go see the movie anymore, because I'm sitting here looking at characters. A, I didn't even recognize the Joker. I was like, who is that guy?
Mm-hmm.
B, okay, I got Harley Quinn, Deadshot. I had to struggle to recognize the rest of the characters. I was like, is this Killer Croc or is that Clayface? Like, I don't know.
Shark King, I mean...
I'm just saying. Or King Shark, yeah. I didn't even know who Slipknot was. I had to go look him up on Wikipedia. I'm just like...
because he's not around for too long, that's why.
I'm just...
It's like, hi, I'm Slipknot.
For that long.
It's like, hey, I'm Slip... It's like, who is that guy again?
Saying.
But
like,
I get what you're saying, though.
Boomerang, like, you haven't been a regular member for like F's.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just my whole thing. The movie, all it did was tell me that this is going to be supposedly very action-packed and very beautifully shot. And that's about it. I already knew from Man of Steel that you have a storytelling problem.
Yes.
And when your job, when your purpose in life is to take these millions of dollars and be able to tell me a cohesive, entertaining story, and you can't do your job,
what are you movie making for? Is the question.
Exactly.
No, I get it. I totally get it. But before we, go into tangents about this, let's get to our last subject, because we can talk about this all night. We have the Duchess waiting for you in lieu of the studio, so try not to get you in trouble. Shout out to the Duchess, by the way.
Cider warm.
But let's talk about the Injustice story arc. A few days ago, I did put out a video that I seen on YouTube talking about a theory about Wonder Woman being the main villainess of the Injustice video games, and wanted to get your thoughts about that, because that intrigued me a lot.
I would be ecstatic if that were the case. I think DC often flirts around with what exactly it is they want to do with Wonder Woman, whether they're going to make her the leader, the soldier, the nurturer, or the protector. And I think more often than not, she ends up becoming somewhere between the soldier and the nurturer. Very rarely is she allowed to lead on her own. And it is usually within the panels of her own comics. Very rarely in these team-ups is she the one rallying forces and getting everyone behind her. So I feel like if we see that side of her in this game, it could be awesome from a storytelling perspective. But I don't foresee it happening for exactly the aforementioned reasons. I mean, even look at the first Injustice game. You were just following up Superman because, I don't know, reasons. You're a soldier, you need a war, this seemed like the most righteous cause, off we go into the future. And so, if she does become the main villainess, it kind of becomes an issue of, okay, well, what changed between the first game and the second game?
Are you asking me that?
Well, no, I'm just saying, like, in general, if that is the case.
I was like,
$5 million question.
I'll try to answer it, but I don't know if I'm right or not, though. I guess you mentioned her being the warrior and the nurturer, and I completely agree with that, because the video was talking about how, they are diving into, Diana being in love with Kal-El.
Right.
Post Lois, death.
Right. I.e. New 52.
Yes. I.e. Superman killing Joker in a fit of rage.
Right.
And they talk about her drive to have Superman's acceptance and his love, you know, led to her being much more Amazonian than we're, you know, we as casual viewers or we as hardcore viewers are used to. You know, which brings up the theory about now in the second Injustice game, she's now seeing the fruits of her labors, and you know, it's her showing some remorse about all the things that she did. Like, it's all for love, but you know, what is it that I really gained?
Right. And you know, once again, snaps to WB Games for their inventive storytelling. Actually, you know what? I can't even say WB Games. They gave us Arkham Origins. But I guess you can't make it on without cracking a few eggs. So, you know, snaps to the writers for giving us some compelling storytelling, even in their video games, which is a category that Marvel lacks in. But I felt like the Injustice games, and more importantly, the Injustice comics, were probably some of the finest writing to come out of DC in quite some number of years. I mean, the story was like, I was more into that than I was in 52 when it came out. This felt like nostalgic Grant Morrison with some oversight. Because sometimes Grant be going off on tangents I just can't follow. But this was a cohesive, world-spanning story. It was like Civil War on crack and steroids, and that makes an ugly baby. But you know, I would love to see some of these things play out. Some of the themes from the comic play out in the game.
Yes. I mean, so you know, in the game already, Shazam got killed by Superman during the first Injustice game. They now have Black Adam in the game. Joker is there, but you know, apparently he's a illusion from Scarecrow's fear toxin. Poison Ivy's in the game, you know, doing what Poison Ivy does, trying to save her babies.
Right.
You know, I mean, the story by itself, it's okay. You know, MK kind of does it better. Mortal Kombat, for those that don't know what MK is. You know, I felt like, I mean, Supergirl's face need to get fixed. Like, it's the same gripe I have about Chun-Li's face. Like, it needs to be fixed ASAP. Like, it looks like, what the heck is wrong with you?
Okay.
But I mean, the game itself is pretty good. You know, I'll be watching that at Evo this weekend. Looking forward to that. But I mean, the story, I mean, I was hoping for a little bit more with the story. I mean, yes, they had to show the rise of Superman's regime. It went down at the end of the first Injustice movie. I think it was around the comic books before Injustice 2, but it's about, you know, him coming back up to it, and there's two alternative endings. I don't know if you had a chance to look at the endings for the game. At least for the main story.
I haven't. I wanted those to be somewhat, well, at least a visual surprise.
Then I will not. So I will not do a spoiler.
No.
You sure?
Go for it. Yeah. Because I could mess around and be fake clicking on YouTube and see it tonight, and it would all be ruined anyway. So I would rather it come out of your mouth than that happen.
Basically, there's a good ending and a bad ending.
Okay.
During the last chapter, you have a choice to either fight as Batman or fight as Superman. Fighting as Batman, you know, you defeat Superman. You know, you bring a little bit more stability back as far as the whole, you know, superhero thing that's happening. And Superman is, you know, re-imprisoned under a light of red kryptonite to, you know, bring his power down.
Right.
The bad ending, or the evil ending, is you fight against Superman, you win, and it flashed forward to Supergirl inside the same prison. You know, Clark comes up to her, trying to convince her, you know, you should definitely join me. She talked about how disappointed, his father would be, which was also a theme of the whole freaking story.
That one. I've seen this ending.
Yes. And then he talked about, you will join, either by choice or by force, and here comes Batman with a Brainiac type.
Yeah.
Contraption
because
on him.
Superman merges with Brainiac.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like the endings. Unfortunately, we don't know what's canon yet. Granted, I haven't went onto the Reddits to see. But I mean, what are your thoughts about the two endings? And once again, this is a high level, recount of it, because I want you to really see it yourself.
Right.
I don't want to spoil it.
I mean, honestly, I felt like the Superman ending was way more thought out than the Batman ending.
Well, the whole point is, it's good to be bad, and the bad ending is the one that they really want people to go for.
Right.
I think that's with any of these games nowadays. Like, you get the much better ending with the bad ending than the good one.
Not always, but more often than not, yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, I appreciate that there is a choice there. I would have rather they had a kind of choice ending for everyone, for all the characters.
Yeah, that's the arcade mode. Those endings kind of suck.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, like, at least a story mode ending for, I don't know, a handful of characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that we can get to, it'll keep people replaying the game, because honestly, once I beat this twice, I'm done. Like, unless I just enjoy fighting games.
Well, Sergeant, I hate to burst your bubble as far as that, but all of these fighting games and, MMORPGs and first-person shooters and whatnot, they're banking on people playing online competitively. It's not just about the story. It's not, back in the early 2000s anymore.
Well, and that's true. And, call me an old-fashioned video game purist, but, like, I keep my Call of Duties purely for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, they're kind of like Madden games. Like, there's no reason to hang on to the old ones. There's going to be a new one next year.
Yes.
So if I'm buying this one, it is either because the fight mechanics are just that out of this world, or because I'm purely interested in the story. And I'm saying, again, that's me personally. But I think that a lot of video game players have the same sort of sentiment about it. I remember I still have somewhere around this piece, I have Tao Feng, which was one of the first fighting games on Xbox to show real-time damage on a player. I kept it just for that reason. It's iconic to me. I don't play it, but I have it. So,
yeah.
Again, if I'm going through playing this, yeah, I'll probably play online for a hot minute. But eventually there's going to come another game that is going to capture my attention, and I'm going to go back to that. Like, there aren't really that many Pac-Mans out there or Super Mario Worlds where you want to go back to it 10 years after the fact.
Oh, after the show, remind me to send you the speedrun of the Tetris Grandmasters. Like,
oh, man.
Talking about mind blown, it will blow your freaking mind.
My head is going to explode.
It will explode. You'll be like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
And I'm gonna have Linaire send you a picture of it. Just so, yeah. No, that's what's happening. Like, the back of my head just all exposed, and empty eye sockets with eyeball juice running down my cheeks. Just so you know that you did this to me.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. There was another one that was really good too. Like, the GDQ was really, really good. It wasn't as amazing as the one in January though. I guess because, I mean, it didn't raise as much. The AGDQ raised almost $3 million. SGDQ didn't crack 2. So, I mean, It's still a success, but not as big of a success.
That's fair.
Just FYI. But yeah, I completely agree with you as far as the video game aspect of it. I mean, I still have Dragon Quest VIII, which is, you know, quite possibly one of my favorite video games. It's aged a lot. Granted, there's a new version of it now for the DS that, you know, I had a chance to watch the Let's Play for it, and it has an alternative ending, which I really enjoy because the people who I wanted to get together finally gets together. But that goes without saying. But, you know, we even play a game like Borderlands. We would play Borderlands. Like, I looked at one of my main characters yesterday to see how much time I actually put into it. I put 15 days into that character. Like, I really grinded my character out. Granted, I haven't got into OP4, but, you know, that's because I'm still waiting for someone to get back onto Xbox so we could play.
You know, I went all cold turkey by force, not by choice. And now it's like, I don't know if I want to dip back in those waters again.
I mean, I'm just trying to say, man. I mean, I got, you know, I've been playing more characters. I've been playing the Commando now. I don't like him as much, but I can see why he's good.
You know, that I will always pick a Commando or a Soldier mod with almost every game that I play because that is my personal playing style.
Yeah.
Give me a moderate amount of protection.
Which FYI, we will get you in the Division. Myself and the Doctor is going to start streaming, and we're trying to get a cell together to play the game for stream. So, you've been drafted.
Okay. Word.
You've been drafted. We're going to save New York City.
You know, for all those teachers who told me you'll get picked for the dodgeball team next time, that one's for you.
Oh, and on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining myself and the Duke tonight as we talk some comics, we talk some cinematic universes, some that are Marvel-less, and some that are
not. See what you did there.
And the one that's not, you know, talk about its injustice to the world.
Word.
But thank you very much. We will be live tomorrow evening on YouTube and on Twitch. We have the links to the YouTube page and the Twitch page. The Doctor will be live here in the great state of Texas as we talk sports and, you know, talk Evo, because we'll be heading out there this weekend. Unfortunately, the Sergeant is unable to join us this year, but the hope is he'll be able to join us one year where, you know, he can quite possibly find a game that he wants, and we can get him out there on stage to own the noob, so to speak. Sergeant, do you have any final words for the people out there?
You know, don't take any of my criticisms to heart. I know there are hardcore Marvel and hardcore DC fans out there, and this is just one person's opinion, even though I personally happen to feel like I'm right, but that's what makes it my opinion. But yeah, I mean, by all means, if you were a fan of comics or video games or movies in general, go and enjoy yourself. See the good movies, see the crappy movies, read the crappy books, do all that stuff, because that is how you get a fully formed view of the world around you.
That was nice. That was nice. I like that. My final thoughts is, Marvel, you're doing some great movies. I can't wait to see Howard the Duck.
Woo!
Hopefully,
Yeah,
there's no duck to human, you know, coitus, so to speak.
I mean, hey, look, if Marvel's doing it proper,
I don't think a Marvel movie actually shown, you know, actually led to that kind of thing yet inside any of the movies yet, have they? I don't think so.
no. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Howard the Duck was the first movie to do it.
Oh no, they did Deadpool, but I mean,
Yeah, but that wasn't
Deadpool.
Marvel. That was Fox.
Yeah. But c'est la vie, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next time. Peace and love.
Oh, Jessica Jones.
You just had to put that in there. I'm so salty right now. I can't stop the show right there. All right, I'm so salty right now. Yeah. All right, ladies and
Good night,
gentlemen,
sir.
thank you very much. Good night, Canada.